job.
Everybody awake now? I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mike, will you lead us in the salute to the flag?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Roll call.
Thank you. Sharon Falkowitz,
Here.
Donna Williams,
Here.
Christine Patterson,
Here.
Susan Lauricella,
Here.
Amy McSweeney,
Here.
Diana Miller.
Here.
Let the record reflect Chad Henderson is absent tonight. On behalf of management, you have Corey Harris and Michael Canberg from First Service Residential. And on behalf of your auditing firm, you have Mohammed Salyani from Wilkin and Gutton Plan in attendance. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the open meeting minutes of March 10th, please?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the open board meeting on March 10th.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Okay, hi everybody. Nice to see a nice sized turnout here this evening. Welcome everybody here. Welcome everybody on YouTube and on WCOC. This meeting is going to focus on, of course, our end of year audit. And so rather than waste time, I think we should just get into that. And of course, we'll have Q&A at the end of the session as we always do. So I'm going to turn it over to either Mohammed or Michael, who wants to start.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. You're now going to sit, for anybody who wanted a copy of the draft, mind you, it's a draft. It is not final. Finals will be issued upon the completion of the presentation and any other last-minute notes notwithstanding. But Mr. Salyani will speak to this. But he is going to present to you the draft of the 2025 audited financials for the Homeowners Association. Please take notes. Please keep your comments or your questions till the end. We will quickly get through the rest of the agenda, and we will open up the Q&A very timely so you could all have Mr. Salyani to ask your questions. Thank you very much, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
You want to get it close to you.
Okay, there we go. Is that better? All right. So, hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening on such a beautiful evening. No?
Corey, can you up the volume from here on the controller?
Is that better?
You may have to get
No.
Some of them are loud, some aren't. Give them mics.
you're free to try.
Is that better? Okay. All right. I've never held it so close. All right. So it's a pleasure to be here this evening. I'm, as Michael said, my name is Mohammed Salyani. I'm from Wilkin and Gutton Plan. We are your auditors, independent auditors. So our responsibility is to audit these financial statements and to opine as to whether in all material aspects they show the true picture of the association for and as at December 31st, 2025. So technically speaking, what comes from my office is what's on page 1, 2, and 3. The rest of it is your information and is the responsibility of the board. So I will briefly go over the audit report itself. If you turn to page 1, you will see right at the top, it says opinion. It talks about what makes up your financial statements. You have a balance sheet, which is a snapshot of your assets and your liabilities as at December 31st. You have a statement of revenues and expenses and changes in fund balances, which shows all the income that the association has earned, all the expenses that the association has incurred, the balances in your various funds or your equity at the beginning of the year, plus minus the net for the year, and then the balance carried forward into the next year. Then you have a statement of cash flows, which reconciles the cash in the bank from the previous year to the current year through the changes in your assets and liabilities. And then you have your footnotes to the financial statements. We have given what's known as a clean or an unqualified opinion. That means that based on our audit procedures, we believe that these financial statements in all material aspects do show the true picture for and as at December 31st, 2025. The rest of the 3 pages talk about what's the responsibility of the board to make sure that these financial statements are complete. It then goes on to give a little detail as to our procedures. I'm not going to go into detail, but I will just tell you we use what is known as professional skepticism. What that means is that even though we have worked with First Service and Michael for many years, we still will require all underlying documentation for all material items to make sure we can verify and corroborate whatever is in there. We're not here to look for fraud. We are here to make sure that these financial statements can be relied upon. We also talk about two types of supplementary information. One is the study that's done by the engineer. We refer to that on page 3. We are not engineers, we are accountants, so we do not opine on the study, but it is required that it be included in here as part of your financial information. So it is required supplementary information. The other supplementary information is the comparison of your revenues and your expenses to your budget. It gives you an idea as to where you stand compared to what you budgeted for, and we do use that as a criteria for some of our testing. So if you will turn with me to page 21. Now, I was telling your board here just a few minutes ago, and Michael, that I could actually sum this whole presentation with one word. It is a 4-letter word. And it's spelled S-N-O-W. Yeah, I know where your minds are going. Don't go there. So, yes, unfortunately, that is the situation that practically 99% of my clients this year have faced. The ones who are in New Jersey and, in the tri-state area. And I will tell you that I have been in almost every day I have been in one type of conversation or the other with the board trying to figure out how they're going to deal with this. Because the issue is, of course, that in the last 5 years, we did not experience what we have experienced in this last snow season. And so because of that, over the last few years, majority of the boards had been starting to reduce their budgets on snow because they did not need it, right? And so then you come to a current year where now we get hit by several very large storms, and now you have hundreds of thousands of dollars that you have had to spend to clear them, and that's what the situation. So we will go through the rest of the numbers, but I do definitely want you to keep that in mind. If you go back and look at statistics, you will see that we have not had such storms for several years, right? And not only was such storms, but the fact that such very, very cold periods where the snow was not melting, right? So just keep that in mind. Anyway, so on page 21, you will see that your budgeted revenue for the year in total was $11,632,000, and your actual revenue for the year was $11,732,000. So you were actually pretty much exactly on budget. There were some, of course, items that are a little higher, and there are some items that are a little lower, but that is usually the case. But generally speaking, your revenue is pretty much in line with what you have budgeted. Then we'll go down to the expenses. Total expenses for grounds maintenance, and this is where it comes in, of course, is budgeted was $1.8 million approximately, and you came in at $2,630,000. And the reason is, if you look at the second line there, your budget for snow was $100,000, and you came in at $896,000 for 2025, right? So that's where your difference is, right there, the $800,000. Building maintenance, you actually managed to save on that. Your budget was $568,000. You came in at $331 because you were generally lower on general building maintenance, on paving, very little in, if none, any for roadway repairs and concrete. So those are the items that you saved on. Moving to the next page, Security services, you budgeted 835,000. You came in at 860. Again, almost on the budget, exactly, right? Total management services, you budgeted 137,000. You came in at 125. Again, practically on budget. Payroll services, you budgeted 1,292,000. You came in at 1,238,000. Again, very close, right? Total general services, 3,780,000, 3,663,000. You had some savings compared to your budget on insurance, and that's why you were a little lower overall on this. Again, some items are a little higher, some items are a little lower, but generally speaking, very close to what is overall a very realistic budget here. Clubhouse services, you budgeted 452,000. You came in at 513,000. A little higher on the activity-related expenses because you had a few more activities here during the year. So those are your general expenses for the day-to-day running of this association. Then you have your allocations to the various funds that you have. You put aside 120,000 to your discretionary reserve fund, mainly coming from your capital contributions from resales within the association. You put 2.8 million in your replacement fund. Your budget was 2.7, and the reason why it's higher, again, because of higher capital contributions. So the more resales took place during the year, and so you collected more and you put more into your reserves. So total operating expenses were 12,330,000. Your budget was 11,632,000. The difference is a little shy of 600,000. Again, it's all because of that one item, right? And then we also have, if you look at page 25, that gives you overall synopsis of your replacement fund. We just saw you added 2.8 million into your reserves, and then you spent from there 2,427,000, of which the highest number was roofing, which was at $1.7 million during the year. So in total, you still added to your fund, and at the end of the year, your balance was 1,526,000. You started with 1,110,000. So you added about 415,000 to your fund, reserve fund. If you will turn back with me now to page 6, actually page 7, I apologize. You'll see there's a line here that says excess deficiency of revenues over expenses. So, and these are the numbers that we have been looking at until now. On the right-hand side, under the replacement fund, there's the 416,000 that I just mentioned to you, the 120,000 in the discretionary from the capital contributions, and then the deficit of 598,000 for your operating fund. So the net is a outflow of 61,000 approximately. Again, if we look at the replacement fund on the right-hand side, we just saw you started with 1,110,000, you ended with 1,526,000. Discretionary went up to 548,000. Water and sewer lines has 7,000. Snow fund has 18,000. You still had a surplus in your operating fund of 1,230,000. So even with this deficit of the snow, we are at 632,000 in your operating fund. So your total funds, all added together, at the end of the year are 2,732,000. And now we will turn to page 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are your balance sheet. They show your assets and your liabilities. So if you look on the right-hand side, and the assets and always have to tie to your liabilities plus your fund balance. So if you want, you can actually toggle the 2 pages, and you look at the replacement fund. Total assets in the replacement fund are $1,526,000. You have $1.4 million in cash and cash equivalents, and $606,000 in CDs. And then you have some prepaid expenses for reserve expenses to be incurred after the year end. There is an amount known as interfund balance. If you look at that last line just above total assets, you will see that in the total column, it always adds up to 0. What that is it's like an intercompany balance, is one fund owing the other fund, and basically your replacement fund owes the other fund's money. So some of the cash that's sitting in the replacement fund belongs to some of the other funds. So $1,526,000 in the replacement fund, and if you look at the next page, that ties exactly to your fund balance. Pretty much the same concept for the discretionary reserve fund, the water and sewer lines. It's only $7,000. There's really no bank account for it, so it's a small interfund balance there. Snow fund is the same thing. It's a small balance of $18,000. Again, it always ties to the fund balance. The operating fund has $552,000 in cash, and then you'll see here there is a line that says assessments receivable. Now this says 87,000, but what this is we look at the aged receivable, and anything that is over 90 days, there is what's known as an allowance made for that, because we cannot be certain, reasonably certain, that that money will be collected. So there is an allowance created for that, and then if those delinquent amounts are collected, then it would go back to increase your income. So at the end of the year, the amount for over 90 days was about $72,500. So this number that you're seeing here is actually net of that $72,000. Just keep that in mind. There are amounts due from the Monroe Township. Also, as you know, you have the golf course here, and there is an agreement with the owner of the golf course. Your board and management has been trying to get in touch with them and reconcile this, and that finally did happen recently. And we were on a call with the owner, and based on the discussions that took place, the owner of the golf course now owes the association $18,000 for the services, and based on the agreement that is in place. Insurance, the company requires you to pay the majority of the premiums up front, so that's the $275. And then you have these leases that there is a new standard that requires that any leases that any organization has, you have to record the lease asset and the liability on your books. So it's just accounting jargon. You don't need to go into that too much. And then there's the interfund balance. And if you turn to the next page, you will see that in the operating fund, the liabilities are $1,184,000, of which $541,000 were outstanding bills at the end of the year for day-to-day expenses, and I'm sure there's some of that is also relating to the snow itself. Assessments received in advance. So this is exactly the opposite of what we just talked about as far as the delinquencies are concerned. These are monies that are paid into the association from people before it's actually due. So they paid their 2026 dues in 2025. Because it's not yet due, it cannot be recorded as revenue. It's recorded as a liability, and then it becomes revenue as and when it becomes due to the association. There is some deferred revenue for the association, and then the offsetting lease liabilities that the association has. And when you add that to your fund balance of $632,000, which we had seen a few minutes ago, that ties into your total assets. So in a nutshell, those are your financial statements. I'm going to let the rest of the meeting proceed, and then if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Mohammed, I just have one question. Thank you very much for that presentation. Aside from the unanticipated snow expense, the HOA otherwise seems to have operated within its budgeted obligation, yes?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we got that out clearly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mike, do you want to do the management report?
I do, thank you. So briefly, folks, thank you for your patience and your attention. We're going to run through a couple items quickly so that you can get to your questions and answers for Mr. Saliani. So first, the HOA is just going to ratify some agreements that we've put in place recently, starting with the insurance premium that was renewed for this year at a rate of 1.207, excuse me, let me say that again, $1,207,142. There's also a new agreement in place with HOA Council, Greenbaum Smith Rowe Davis, for an annual retainer agreement of $20,000. There's a new pool vendor, Carmona Pools, for both the indoor and outdoor pool combined for $96,500. And the janitorial services for the clubhouse has been awarded to Affordable Quality Cleaning for an annualized amount of $187,200, which is inclusive of labor and materials. All of these were previously voted on by the board, but for the purposes of ratification now, may I have a motion and a second to ratify these into the meeting's minutes?
I'll make a motion
Thank you,
to
Diana.
accept these.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Briefly, I just want to comment on a few other things. The clubhouse, as some of you have reported to us, those who are here more frequently, have reported throughout the winter some weird temperature deviations throughout to certain rooms, felt hotter, colder. This is not lost on us. We were investigating this throughout the winter, and we're proud to present, for those of you who were at a previous meeting and or have engaged Oxford Energy, we had Oxford Energy do a survey here at the clubhouse, and they found a fantastic grant program. There'll be more information to follow on this, but we will be placing all of the units here at a price of about $440,000. $270,000 is grant money coming from the state to pay for this. We do not have to pay that back. It's great, great, great. The balance of which is a zero interest on bill repayment for 10 years, which should be less, the payment should be less than the actual reduction in the consumption. So we expect that to be a net positive, a net gain for the HOA, but most importantly, we'll have state-of-the-art and balanced climate control throughout the entire facility. So stay tuned. This will all be happening in the next few months. It will not disturb the operations here. There may be occasional rooms that are impacted by it, but generally speaking, the clubhouse will be open and operating throughout this improvement. Shifting gears briefly, thank you. Shifting gears briefly to the outside of the clubhouse, the landscaping. Those of you who have been out of your home in the last month or so have hopefully seen the storm-related cleanup. There's been turf restoration ongoing, substantial amount of leaf and branch cleanup, and any storm-related tree damage is also getting addressed. There are some still lingering, but we think we've got a good handle on them. If you're seeing something by your home, it hasn't been identified or tagged yet, please let us know, let maintenance know, and we'll be sure to have somebody out there. Real quick, a few other quick housekeeping items. Our sidewalk program is ongoing. The company continues to work through the community. One of the very interesting notes, which I'll bring up as related to winter and snow, some of the previously marked slabs have moved, or they call heaved, as much as 1.5 inches from the markouts in December. So think about that for a minute. In January and February, the amount of freeze and thaw that the community endured has moved your walkways in some cases at least an inch. That's significant. It may not sound like much, but from where I sit, that's significant. So we are addressing that, and we will continue to clean those up, those few areas, but it was noteworthy when you start to think about how impactful this winter weather was. We are continuing to move through roofs. As you've just heard, roofs remain our single largest reserve responsibility to the community, and we're on schedule. I think we've got 40 of them approved thus far, another 20 in the process. But we are on schedule for this time of year for the amount of roofs we would like to be accomplishing. Last, the elevators, they're just about finished with the fabrication of them, and we expect in the next 60-ish days that they will start that rollout. The 7 buildings that are impacted by that are on Ben Franklin and Concordia Circle. And if you live in one, you know about them, and you'll be receiving notice directly. We will come up with a mitigation plan to make sure your access is not compromised. That's really, oh, I did want to bring up one other thing. It's not really an agenda item, but you are all owed an apology and an acknowledgement from management, specifically me. January and February were very challenging. I acknowledged this at the last meeting, but it's still not fully sorted out. So I want to make sure that I take a moment to say this. It's never our intention to disregard people's requests for service. The amount of requests I received versus the amount of time I had to respond to them is still a backlog. It's not an excuse. I'm just trying to give you statistical information, but I'm apologizing for those of you that are waiting for a response from me or felt that I have ignored your comment. I don't. I promise you, if you want to stay and talk to me at the end, I will absolutely stay and talk to you. I have no problem with addressing folks. It's just a matter of having enough time in the day to chew through them and have it be meaningful. You don't want lip service, and I don't want to do that to you either. But I do feel it's worthy to acknowledge this because I am still hearing from some folks that they're still a little sore about it, and I acknowledge that. So thank you for continuing to work with me as I continue to serve your community. And I promise you I'll do a better job with each passing day. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Sue, you're up.
Hello, everybody. So we're going to, on the agenda, it says Care Award. Now, I want you guys to think about a fellow resident who is deserving of a Care Award that do nice things for our community. So keep that in mind for next month. But this month, I'm going to read this because I don't want to forget anything. While our monthly Care Award celebrates residents who uplift our community, this month our residents would like to present a special Outstanding Service Recognition Award to Eric Scheid. The residents of Concordia community The residents of the Concordia community proudly recognize Eric for his dedication in serving our residents with kindness, professionalism, and responsiveness. Over recent weeks, the board has received numerous commendations from residents highlighting Eric's consistency, desire to go above and beyond in addressing their needs. His thoughtful approach, his prompt attention to concern, and genuine care of well-being of others have made it a meaningful and lasting impactful throughout Concordia. Residents have specifically noted Eric's approachable demeanor, his ability to resolve issues efficiently, and his unwavering commitment to delivering outstanding service. These qualities reflect his personal integrity. The residents of Concordia extend their sincere appreciation to Eric for his outstanding contribution. Unfortunately, Eric's not with us tonight, but we'll make sure he gets this. And I just wanted to share some words from Eric. Thank you so much for this award. I'm truly honored and very grateful to the residents of Concordia for this recognition. It's been a privilege to serve the community. The people here are what makes it so special, and I appreciate the trust and kindness you've shown me over the years. So that will be for Eric. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Susan. Does anybody have any committee updates? Or can we circle back for a second? I'm sorry. Diana, do you want to talk about the CD investment?
Do you have that? Yeah. We had a CD that came up for renewal in December that we renewed, and for 12 months it came in at 3.9%, and we have another one that's coming up in April that we will be renewing at for 18 months, and we don't have the final amount on that, but he expects it to be around the same rate, between 3.7 and 4%. We'll know better when we get that. Yeah, the one we just did was at 3.90.
Thank you. Does anybody have any committee updates that they want to give?
We need to.
Madam President, excuse me, Madam Vice President, may I? As related to the audit, there are two quick housekeeping items, resolutions that we need to read into the record. And I'll do so now since Mohammed's still here. That way, if any questions do come up, we can certainly speak to this. But this is a resolution to defer any surplus to future years. There's going to be one for 12/31/2024 and another for 12/31/2025. But if you allow me briefly, I will read it into the record. Whereas Communities of Concordia Homeowners Association has assessed its owners' members for the purposes of managing, operating, maintaining, and replacing the common elements of the property. And whereas the Board of Trustees desire that the association shall act in full accordance with the rulings and regulations of the Internal Revenue Service. Now therefore, the members of the association by vote do hereby adopt the following resolution. Resolved that any excess of membership revenue over membership expenses in the operating and deferred maintenance funds for the year ended 12/31/2024 shall be applied against the subsequent tax year member assessments in accordance with IRS Revenue Ruling 70-604. This resolution is affirmed by the Board of Trustees and made part of the minutes of the meeting of 4/14/2026. Second, whereas the Communities of Concordia Homeowners Association Incorporated has assessed its owners' members for the purposes of managing, operating, maintaining, and replacing the common elements of the property, and whereas the Board of Trustees desire that the association shall act in full accordance with the rulings and regulations of the Internal Revenue Service. Now, therefore, the members of the association by vote do hereby adopt the following resolution. Resolved that any excess of membership revenue over membership expenses in the operating and deferred maintenance funds for the year ended 12/31/2025 shall be applied against the subsequent tax year member assessments in accordance with the IRS Revenue Ruling 70-604. This resolution is affirmed by the Board of Trustees and made part of the minutes of the meeting of April 14, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve both resolutions, please?
I'll make a motion to approve both resolutions for 2024 and 2025.
Thank you, Diana. Is there a second, please?
I second the motions.
Thank you, Sharon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Both resolutions pass. I appreciate letting me get that housekeeping done. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I just wanted to give you a rundown of the upcoming events. This past Saturday, I don't know if anybody was at the show, but it was really a lot of fun. It was a big success. People were dancing on the sides, and it was really fun. On Wednesday, April 22nd, ragtime bus trip. It's sold out, but there is a wait list in case you want to go. You never know, so somebody might cancel. Tuesday, May 5th, we're going to start up the Tunes on the Terrace, and that will be on the first and third Tuesday of each month throughout the summer into September. So weather permitting, we're going to, if for some reason there's inclement weather, we'll bring it into the Regency Room. Let's see, May 9th is Splish Splash, tribute to Bobby Darin. Tickets are $34. They're available on Event Groove. May 11th, the bus ride to Wind Creek Casino. The bus leaves here at 9:30. Tickets are $37, and you receive a $25 slot play credit. Plans are being made for our Memorial Day celebration. More to come on that. The outdoor pool is scheduled to open on May 23rd. We're just waiting to determine what time. June 13th, this is the moment. It's a night with Broadway star Robert Guccione. That went on sale yesterday, and they're selling quickly, so if you're interested in that show, I would say you better get your ticket. July 1st, going to Yankee Stadium. The Yankees are playing the Tigers. Tickets are $94. They go on sale May 4th, and in room number 1, and they'll start giving out numbers at 8 a.m. And also plans are being made for our July 4th poolside celebration. And last for tonight would be Thursday, July 30th. We're going to see the 40th anniversary of Les Mis at Radio City. It's a 7:30 p.m. show, leaving here at 3 p.m. Tickets are going to go on sale April 27th at 10 a.m. Numbers will be given out at 6 a.m. That's it. Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything they want to update?
Just very quickly, the bench project is moving forward now that the SNOW is gone, and the ground is not frozen. We can get started. So hopefully, maybe by mid-June, we might be able to install our benches. So if you still want to do it, please let me know. My number and my email is on the information in the hallway. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If nobody has anything else, then can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, question and answer. Let's go back over the rules one more time. Anything that pertains to all of Concordia, you may ask a question. You may ask one question with one follow-up. Please keep your comments to less than 2 or 3 minutes. And if you have something personal that you want to discuss, Mike will be here after the meeting to discuss that. Thank you. Let's go.
Please, whomever would like to come up, just please state your name and your unit number. We'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. And please speak into the mic for the benefit of the group. Thank you.
Hi, Andrea Levine, 3A Ethan Allen Drive. My question is regarding Note 10 in the financials, the house that we now own. I was curious, what model, how much were we due, how much did we pay for the home, how much was the mortgage, and why is the fair market value de minimis?
Hi, so that's a good question. It's got a couple of facets to it, so I'll try and answer what I can. I can't answer everything, but I will give you factually what I do know. So the unit, 16B, James Buchanan Drive, I actually don't know the model that is. It's in an 8-unit building. Forgive me, I don't know. It's a first floor unit. We recovered the unit for back dues. It was under $30,000 at that time, but the bank who had there was some mortgage recorded against it in 2004. It was the recording history seemed to have gone murky around 2020, but apparently in 2019 the mortgage was sold to another servicer, and whether they recorded it properly or not, I can't tell you definitively, but ultimately the banks sold their note to HUD, and HUD is now seeking to foreclose on it. So the HOAs, through their counsel, seeking to negotiate with HUD to try and recover the monies outstanding, which is in excess of $30,000 now. Since the HOA recovered it at the foreclosure sale, the HOA is obligated to pay the property taxes on it, and it is one of the 1,757 units that is not performing. So every month that unit remains vacant and on the HOA's books, those dues are not being paid, were not being collected. So that is growing the delinquency on that. It's a great question because to the note that we discussed, that 87,000 or so that was over 90 days, I would say approximately a third of that is tied to this one specific address. I can't speak to fair market value. I can tell you it's in average condition. It is not in disrepair, but it's not ours to transact because it's what's called clouded title. There is a mortgage still recorded on the deed, therefore nobody could purchase it and obtain a mortgage without satisfying this mortgage. We sought to try and negotiate a settlement directly with the bank. They will not speak to us because we're not the borrower nor family of the borrower. So the only people they would negotiate a short sale with is either the owner or one of her direct family members, none of which have materialized to facilitate this transaction. So we're expecting counsel at some point in the first half of this year, which is the next quarter, to work with the attorney and provide the HOA with some information as to what type of a settlement. They've begun their foreclosure proceedings, and they will look to liquidate the asset and sell it at a sheriff's sale, and we will look to recover as much of our delinquent balance as possible. I don't know if that answered all of your questions, but I tried.
I'm just curious then, why did we buy it?
We didn't.
We foreclosed on it. We didn't purchase it. We forced the sheriff's sale, so we recovered the actual deed. We didn't spend any money in
okay.
effort, right? So we recovered it
Okay.
so that we could try at that point to, as the
Okay.
deed holder, to try and recover our monies. And frankly, if we had enough time, we could do what's called a receivership and collect the rent, put a tenant in it, and the HOA would become a de facto landlord. Not an ideal situation, but then you could collect rent to write down your delinquency against it. The problem we had is once we recovered the unit, within short time, HUD came and started their proceedings. So it would be a disservice to anyone to suggest they could live there uninterrupted when we know full well there's a bank coming and a proceeding coming.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And I was also curious, why is there such a big difference between the budgeted federal income tax and the actual?
In 2025? Oh, I can actually answer that. When we did the budget in October or November of 2024, we were not aware that such a huge tax bill was going to be due for 2025. So we didn't budget for it, and we got hit with a $100,000 tax bill.
The reason for that is the money that you got from the cable service.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, room 48. 48 James Buchanan Drive. My name is Harry J. Morris III. You can't hear me? How's that? Very good. You all look happy. No snow. Just two questions, or two things in there. I work out on occasion. Sometimes I use the shower at the locker room, I guess you could say. But if anybody walks in there, the mold that is on the floor in the shower areas is pathetic. It needs to be cleaned up, I think. I don't know what else to say about that. It's just walk in there and look at it, and you can see. The other question I would like to ask you is, we have no lines in the roadways around the school, around the facilities. How come they don't paint lines down? It makes the cars travel a little bit better because some people park on the side of the road. Some people park almost in the middle of the road. But if you had the lines, it might help out a lot better. It's going to cost some money, I would assume. And then the other one, what was the other thing? That's about it. Anything else, Diana, my wife? If I don't listen to her, I get beat. All right? Thank you,
So
sir.
real quick, I will give you two quick comments. One,
for
we
it.
are in the process. The board is aware of the locker room condition. They've tasked management with putting together proposals to get them clean up men's and women's locker rooms. Just so you're aware, we're in the process of putting that together.
That's good.
For those of you that use it, you may have seen some contractors in there during the winter. We were doing all that legwork. I expect to have that in front of the board hopefully in May, so for them to start to digest that. The line striping is an interesting one. I don't disagree. There's some other traffic controls that I'm looking to get proposed. I do think some line striping. I do think crosswalks would be a great place to also create some opportunities. You have, whether you like it or not, you have golfers that are crossing the roadways, and if we could identify those crossings, I think it would also help for safety. So there's a couple of items related to what you're speaking about that are on my radar, so stay tuned. Hopefully there is some visual improvement to that soon.
Since you bring up about the golfers, I'm not against golfing. I haven't played in 6 years with all the surgeries I've had. But I watched them come in the gate. One guy gets in, the gate goes up, and they fly through. And I'm wondering why we're getting so many broken gates. I guess you could ask maintenance or somebody about
It's
how many.
deliveries more than golfers, but they're
Yeah.
a close second.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
She didn't want to go, that's why I got thrown here.
Nancy Redwood, 4A Ethan Allen. I have a couple questions on landscaping, but I just want to clarify something, Mike. The employees that were legacy Concordia employees that are being outsourced, they are going to be assigned back to work at Concordia, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Correct.
Just
100%.
want to make sure.
Yes.
All right, with regard to landscaping, you did send out a notice today. As you know, I had a problem with the landscapers. I had been told by their supervisor that they were not going to mark the garden beds. Now you're saying they're going to use white flags. Are these different from the white flags that we had from American?
Yeah, they just won't say American on them, but they're still white flags. And it's
So-
for any unit owner who wants to opt out, you can do so. You get the white flags from either the concierge or the maintenance.
And how many do they need you to put up?
We're asking for you to take 4. If people want to take more, we'll provide them for you, but 4 is the adequate amount that the landscapers
Okay,
identified
because
for
the
us.
problem that happened at my property is because they came from the back. So they didn't, even though I had all the American flags up, they said they were going by address. Well, they can't tell the address from the back of the house.
Fair point. You should have more in that case. So situations like that, and for anybody who has a situation like that, if they feel they need more, by all means, just ask either maintenance or concierge. I know we've got 1,000 of them at concierge. They probably have the same amount over at maintenance as well. So
Okay.
yes, but flag more. Don't just accept 4, Nancy. Put more.
Okay,
make
I
sure
just
that-
want
yeah.
everybody to know for their
Yep,
own gardens too. So with regard to the chemicals for the lawns, are they going to stake them like they did before in the 4 corners? So that they don't get lawn treatments if we don't want them?
For the people who are opting out of it, I would imagine so, yes. So
You would imagine
they're
so.
the people who are opting out of chemicals. Those people will not get chemical treatment.
Yeah, but before, these are not white flags now, these are stakes in the lawn. Is that what they're going to do? Is similar to what
No,
was the?
no one has said anything to us about stakes for opting out. No, you would want to use white flags if you want to opt
That's
out.
garden beds, that's not lawn treatments.
If you want to opt out of the lawn treatment, I will tell you to put the white flags in your lawn as well.
In the lawn?
Yes, for the 29th and 30th, if you do not want lawn turf treatment, put the white flags in the lawn. That's what they're going to treat. If they see white flags, they'll move
I know,
past.
but in the past, they always had stakes.
And
because
in the
peop-
past, they caused confusion. White flags is the best way to do it. That's the opt-out identifier for the, why would we give them 2 different things and confuse them?
Because when you're on a lawnmower speeding along, you can't see a little white flag sitting on the ground.
I could appreciate that. I will suggest for anyone who wants to opt out of turf application, please get white flags and use them, not the lawns, not the snow stakes.
Okay.
Frankly, the snow stakes are not available to people to put up. So people are keeping them if
Well,
they're.
people weren't putting them up, the landscape company was
America
putting
put
them
them
up.
up in Markville
I
Properties.
I will confirm that. White flags is all I've heard. That's all they've said is use white flags for any opt-out of any service. That's what they've beat
Okay.
me with that repeatedly.
You
So
gave
please.
us the safety data sheet. Can you please find out how long people have to stay off the lawns?
Sure.
Because they do say eye irritant, possible organ irritant, skin irritant, so it is something that could be affecting not just pets, but people too.
Sure. That's fine. I have no problem determining how long.
Okay, and
period
the
is.
last question with regard to landscaping, it was brought up a month or 2 ago that we had paid LMS for November. Did we get reimbursed for that?
Say this again? I'm sorry?
We had paid LMS for November when they did not remove the leaves, and then we had to bring in the other company. Were we reimbursed for that money?
So not LMS, it's American. That's why you're
American, I'm
confused. That's okay. So, no, there was a payment in December that was not paid, not issued. There was a partial pay and a settlement that was paid in November to resolve this. And then a small balance was paid to the new, I think it was 20 or 25,000, 25,000 to the new vendor for the cleanup. So it all fell within your budget. Nothing exceeded budget.
Okay,
So, but
so we're not owed any money from
we're
American.
not owed any money from the vendor. We're not due any money, and we don't owe any money.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name's Pat Caruso, 9A Daniel Webster. Louder? There are 2 things. During the first big snowstorm, the snow plows that went around knocked down a lamppost in front of my house. Not the one on the lawn, on the street.
The street light?
Yes. They came, JCP&L came, they ripped it up, and they put a cone there. It's still there. They told me, we're responsible for it, the association. When I told the association, they told me JCP&L. Well, I don't know who should be resolving this. Do I have to argue with JCP&L? I have no light in front of my house at all. The whole half a block is dark.
It's JCP&L, I promise you.
Okay, so my question is, do I argue with them?
We do this ad nauseum. We have a group of residents here that are advocating directly with them. This is a nonstop uphill battle. I think there's 30 or so still out in the community any given time.
All right, well, mine's not out. The pole is gone.
I
There's
understand.
a hole in my grass.
Yeah, I understand. That's not the only location
Okay.
like that either. But unfortunately, we're at their mercy. We can advocate as
Okay.
hard as we can, but
Okay, and the second
We
thing.
get the same response you do, unfortunately. I hate
Okay.
to say that.
Second thing is, we had our events cleaned in May of '25. We sent in all of the information. In December, we received, I think it was December, we received a letter saying we never did it. And we sent it again with all of the information. When I got home from Florida on Saturday night, we found another letter. They were now fining us $500. Well, here's letter number 3 with the date and everything on it of when it was done. What do we do with it? Because obviously, whoever it's going to
You can hand it to me. I'll take care of it
is
for you.
not
Yes, ma'am.
taking care of it.
Understood. I will make sure that it gets addressed. Thank you very
I
much.
just want to add, I know a
I
few
appreciate it, Pat. Thank you very
A
much.
few
Sorry for
people
the
have
confusion.
had this issue. This is something that is personal to your unit, so we ask that you please see Mike after the meeting about those issues. Thank you.
Paul Rosenheim, 29 Martin Van Buren. Mohammed, a couple of questions. The golf course income shown on the financials, the 83,252, has that money actually been received?
So that's, we spoke with the golf course owner, and it's netting off against what actually is owed to them, because there are some invoices that are also owed to them. We break it out, but the net effect is the 18,000 that's being shown on the balance sheet.
So that 83,000 is really not income.
Well, it's income,
Income.
but because there's also money owed to
Owed.
them, so the net effect of that 83,000
18.
is the 18 as a receivable.
Okay, good. On the cable income, there were problems during the budgeting, obviously, because the audit's showing $79,065, but the financials, the December 31st financials is showing $59,200. So
Where are
there's
you
a
seeing
difference
that?
of
I'm sorry.
$23,000.
Oh, well, the thing is, what happens with the cable income, actually, if you will go to the balance sheet, what we showed as deferred income,
Yeah, that's for the monthlies throughout for the
well,
5
no,
years, right?
it's, what happens is you got a lump sum from them,
Right.
and that lump sum is being recorded as income over the period of the contract. So that's why when we come in, we do the audit, and we will defer what's relating to future periods, and we adjust it to reflect the income based on what needs to be recognized in this current period. So that's why there's a little difference there.
Okay. Now, when the contract, the agreement was developed, if we didn't get that lump sum, the $395,000 in one shot, and that's what really caused the high income tax, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
If that was done on an annual basis, 5 years' worth, how much would we have saved on income taxes?
You wouldn't save anything, because
No?
you would still have to pay whatever you get every year, right? So
Okay,
it doesn't
so-
impact the way you're paying. The income tax is calculated on a cash basis, right?
Right.
So when you get the money, you pay the tax. It's not based on when you recognize the revenue. So even if you had received it 100,000 every year you would still have had to pay that income tax.
Right, but would it have been the same because it's a lower amount each year with the tax rate?
No, the
Tax
tax
rate
rate
wouldn't
is
have made a
standard. There's
difference?
it's a fixed tax rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. On the rubbish removal, the budget and the audit are different amounts.
Paul, there's a whole line behind you. Would you
If
finish that
you-
question?
If you remember, someone ahead of me was asking 4 or 5 questions. I had one more question.
Here's
Okay.
one more, here's one more, let him go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes, the rubbish removal. You have to understand the fact that this is your financial statements. Your revenues are $11 million.
Right. I
Right.
know it's a small amount.
And your
on that.
rubbish removal is 12,000.
Right.
It's overall, it's really not material to the financial statements. If we started looking at items that much, you'd actually pay a lot more to us. Then it's worth looking at the rubbish removal.
Okay, okay.
you. That's a shame. He wants question $1.
Hello. My name is Joanne Fabrell. I live at 10H Benjamin Franklin Drive. I was going to bring up something about my tree that is still on the ground, but I will talk about that in private. But I did have a landscaping question that I guess concerns the entire community. I'm here like 6.5 years now, so this is my 7th summer, my 7th growing season that I've been here. And up until last year, our lawns were mowed once a week, very regularly. The only time it didn't get done once a week is if we had a lot of heavy rainfall. And it was like clockwork. Last year, it was like 2 to 3 weeks in between the time the lawnmowers came through and did the landscaping. And that period of time in between made the property look terrible. I mean, I would drive through the community, I would look in our own lawn, and I'm in a multi-unit building, and there's a multi-unit building right next door to me, and it looked like hell. It was just so disheveled looking, and I want to know how often our lawns are going to be mowed and taken care of going forward.
Sure, so it should be weekly.
It should
Certainly, yes. What you're commenting on is not lost on anybody up here. It's why landscaper vendor was changed. Not the reason, but one of the contributory reasons. Right now, you should see them on a 10 to 14-day cycle. In about a month, they should start to move towards a 7-day cycle. That's just based on the rate of growth. That's not my words. That's kind of what they've told me to expect. And then there may be a period of time at the height of summer where they may actually scale back a little bit because it actually will damage the turf if they're continuing to cut it too aggressive. Depends on the water at that point. So there's a few things that factor in. And the heat, thank you. And then they'll, around September, October, they'll start to go back to a 7 to 10 and a 10 to 14-day cadence as the lawn starts to go dormant. But there's absolutely an expectation that you should see weekly lawn services during the height of the season, which is from May, June, July, August, like that. You should see while grass is growing, the sun is shining, the weather's hot, you should see weekly service. And if you're not, please report that to maintenance.
Okay, okay. And along the same lines, when they do that maintenance, when they're doing the lawn mowing, will they be blowing out all the dead leaves and all the stuff that's underneath the shrubbery and stuff? Because I'm still seeing junk from the fall underneath the bushes.
Yes, so there's two things. One, the areas over where you are, those garden beds definitely need some service. I'm aware of those couple of trees. They should have been out since we last spoke, well, since this last came up, to tag them. At least 2 of them I know of there. I don't know if they've removed them since.
One of them, the one that had an X on it in front of my building, is the one that fell down and is still lying on the ground.
Yeah, so I know that they're still actively removing trees daily, so I'll find out where they are with that and get you a direct response. But I know there's 2 over there. But more to that point, those areas will need attention. The garden beds will need to be blown out. They're not individually owned garden beds, so we know this. The HOA will service them. We will get it cleaned up. The turf will need some attention over there because of the storm damage. No question. You're in one of those buildings that's going to see a lot of elevator activity in the next few weeks to months. Yes. So I am hoping that doesn't impact the grounds around it, but I am cognizant that it might around a little bit of the elevator shack or the shed that they call that. Aside from that enclosure, we should be able to clean up the area surrounding your building and the other buildings right near you, because I know we are. It's a tough spot, and it needs a little improvement. I will absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. And along the same lines, too, like last year, one of the trees behind the building had fallen into one of my neighbor's units in the
struck
same building.
the structure on the top. Yep.
Right, and so I had asked about getting like an assessment of the trees and somebody to look at them to see the status of them, and I don't know that anything was ever done about that, to get somebody to inspect them to make sure, because one of them is leaning right towards the
I did
building.
have them looked at. I will make sure I get that information to you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Marilyn Barnett, 9B Canterbury. I'd like to bring up Eric. I've heard through grapevine that, is it true that we have hired, or you have hired, outsourced maintenance company? And where does Eric stand in this situation? He's, as you know, have said, he's commendable, he's reliable.
Sure.
And we're all for him.
Sure. So you're what you're hearing, maybe, I don't know where you're hearing it necessarily, but there is an initiative to create a greater response to maintenance. We have not been coy about this. So there is an initiative to bring in a maintenance company. Yes, they have met with Michael. Your current maintenance department consists of 3 folks. Michael Doyle is the head of facilities, Eric Scheid, who's a maintenance supervisor, and newly to the organization is Linda Mayers, who's serving as the maintenance admin now. So those are your 3, that's your entire maintenance department. 1,757 units, about 2,400 or so people, relying on the HOA's responsibility to be performed by 3 folks. We do have some outsourced vendors already. CertPlan, for example, does most of your work orders here. The problem is that they were kind of backed into that work. There was never a formal maintenance agreement in place, so some of the work is not captured correctly, so it's done in time and materials or not set fees, or some of it's not being able to be done. We have to contract it because the insurance isn't in place adequately. So we sought to memorialize this with a formal maintenance agreement. We asked CertPlan to provide us with a proposal, and we checked the market for other companies that do this, with the understanding that whomever the HOA chooses to go with, that the staff we have would be extended the opportunity to continue to work here. No different than when First Service Residential came in and the Concordia HOA employees went on the First Service payroll. You know, paperwork has to be filed. This is employment law, so you have to go from one entity to another. Applications have to be completed, background checks and abstracts, things like that have to be done, and then the work can continue. But if you notice anybody who is in the clubhouse recently, you may have seen same faces, our same staff. They're wearing different shirts because we were able to provide a janitorial agreement that provides them with greater resources, better support, redundancy if they're out. So they're able to provide us with substituted coverage, so we get a better handle on the obligations here, and we're able to provide a more seamless deliverable to the community. No one should have to wait for the floor to be cleaned because someone called out. We should be able to have redundancy in place, and we didn't have that. And you don't currently have it with your maintenance program, but we're looking to implement that. But to be very clear, every single person who works here is offered the opportunity to continue to still work here.
They will be.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
It's not in place yet, that's why.
That part's not in place. The custodial stuff's in place. The maintenance stuff is not. So
Okay.
that's still a process that's ongoing. You'll see it shift throughout the summertime. But Linda, who just joined our team,
Yeah, she's good, I've spoken to her on the phone.
great. So she's clearly here. Michael and Eric have both met with the company, and they've been given the documentation. I know at least Michael has provided it back to them. They have every opportunity to stay gainfully here with Concordia. We need them. Their services that they
Absolutely. He
provide
really knows
are
the
on point,
houses.
and they know it, correct.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can't, you can hire a company that knows how to swing a hammer or turn a screw, but the intellectual property that they bring here has value. And I wouldn't want to dismiss that. No different than when we got here. Corey was here in 8 or 9 years at that point. We value that. That's intellectual property that we value, and we will use that.
Yeah.
No different than Michael or Eric.
Good news, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Marilyn.
Just for those folks who are leaving, because the audit is a draft, technically you should not be taking it with you. So please leave it here. I mean, I know some people have left already, but when you do leave, don't take it because it's a draft. Once it's finalized, then you will get copies from the board. Yep.
We will put out a document that is final and legally binding. What you have is not a legally binding document, just so you know. It's still in draft, but thank you. Appreciate that comment, sir.
Good evening. My name is Christina Davis, and I live at 13F Canterbury Drive for 23 years. I want to know when, and Mr. Camberg, I think you got an email from me. Did you?
I probably did, yes.
Okay. I'm just checking.
I'll assume the sale, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Wi-
okay.
Related to which topic in particular?
The sidewalk.
Yes,
I
your
got a
sidewalk for
messed
sure.
up toe from that.
Yes, ma'am. So yours is one of the most critical ones that's going to be done. There's another one on Cambridge as well. Those two, if they haven't been out to mark them already, I've already notified the company I need them addressed right away. The side, not to go on a tangent, but the sidewalk vendor who just is wrapping up their inspection and the shaving or the trimming of the trip hazards, they're bringing me the after report. That combined with our field evaluations will immediately start to replace all the deficient stuff that they could not correct. Yours is separate from all that. And like I said, another one on Cambridge have already been marked. I would expect you to have some level of service in the next 14 to 21 days.
Okay, because it's been like that since 2021.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yes.
Yes. Your particular unit, for anybody who doesn't know, is the walkway's extensive. It impacts many other units, and when we go to service it, it will be a little tough to get in and out for some folks. We do have to create those access points, but we have to do it.
Yeah, okay. Second of all, there are trees and bushes removed from the area. They have not been replaced. I'm not saying planting because we get together, the other 7 of us, try to get together and make it look nice. But definitely, something needs to be done. It looks horrible.
They came through since we've spoken to clear out, or still not yet? Because we spoke about this, and the landscaper was supposed to go out there and start to remove any dead stuff or whatever
They removed some, but they're not replacing it.
Got it. Okay.
Please. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ron Zhu. I have unit 9B, James Madison Court, and 4C, Edinburgh Drive. So last year, for the drive-in inspection, I did on June 4th on 2025. And after I done the inspection, I submit the certificate form right away to the office. And now I received a violation saying I didn't do that, and I got $500 violation fee on my account. So, and also the late fee also. So, I mean, I have the paper here.
Yep, we've already talked about this, sir. We've sent you correspondence back. You did not have any fee applied to 4C Edinburgh because we received that certificate.
Yeah, but
we didn't receive the one for 9B James Madison. We've since received it, and we're crediting you the
I think for the 9B,
fee.
the question is for the certification form is indicate my name on it, but for the unit itself, is my parents live there. So on the residence list name is not my name. So because my name doesn't show up on the list, maybe somebody just destroyed the
We do it based
certification.
on address.
But I'm the owner.
Understood.
Yeah,
We
I
do
think
it-
it should be based on the address, not on the name. Yeah.
We do it based on address.
So I have the copy if you need
I'll take it if you like. No problem,
okay.
sir. Thank you.
Okay, and also second one is recently I just make 2 phone calls to the office, try to find one is about my past and another one is about this situation. And the reception of the office who answers the phone is the attitude is very rude and no patience and yelling to me, try to stop me, ask question, and try to hang the phone and say thank you, goodbye, and try to hang up on my phone. So no patient to listen my questions, and even I think they cannot answer the question exactly. They can forward to the management or for the up level. And then, I mean, I've been so upset because I love this community, even I'm not living here because my parents live here. They very love here. For 10 years, my parents live here. So usually I visit my parents here. I love this community. It's a very good community. But recently, I don't know. I try to make phone call and I don't know what that happens is.
Yep.
Should not by that happen.
Nope. So you sent me email before
Yes.
earlier today about the
Yes.
receptionist.
Yes.
So I replied to you.
Yeah.
For the future, just use my email. If you need something or if your parents are in need of something, just reach out for me via email. It's the most effective way to get a hold of me. I don't know if you're here earlier. But I have to apologize because I don't get to call people back as frequently or as fast as I'd like to. Email is the most effective way to get a hold of me.
Thank you very much.
And I promise you'll get a respectful response to every email you send.
Okay, I appreciate.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. No worries. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Mike. Jeff Barrico, 6A Worcester. I have a question for the auditor. We have a lot of expenses of things we replaced. Roof replacements, sauna, the AC units, etc. Aren't they capital expenses?
Yes, they're capital expenses charged to your replacement fund.
Okay. Now, if they're capital expenses, aren't they deductible on income tax?
No, because that's not where your sources of income is coming from. Your source of income is mainly interest, and you cannot deduct depreciation against the interest. IRS will not allow it.
Okay, thank you. Just had that question. Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah. We wish.
Hi, Steve Biker, 44 George Washington Drive. Last year, Steve Biker, 44 George Washington Drive. Last year I had my house, the roof redone, which I'm very happy about. My question is, I was told last year that there was no money for the gutters in the budget. But yet I look at the draft over here and I see money in the gutters, for the gutters. Are they going to do that going forward?
So there is a budget item for gutters, 100%. And I can't speak factually, but what it sounds like happened is we may have run through the bucket by the time we got to yours. So they may not have had funds left to do the gutters. So it's not, I want to make sure that the information you leave here with is correct. We do allocate funds for gutter replacement in the reserve, separate from gutter repairs. But if when your roof was getting replaced, if that fund was depleted, we would not have been able to do the gutters at that time. But that said, let me specifically find out exactly when your roof was done, how that came to pass, and where you fall on the gutter replacement list to give you an update on that.
I'd appreciate it.
No problem. Just so we're clear, the two are not, they're bifurcated. We do not fund the reserves for the roofs as well as the gutters in the same capacity. Roofs are so much more significant, and not every roof job requires new gutters.
Okay.
Thank you. You got it, Steve. I will follow up with you tomorrow.
Hello, I'm John Burrows at 35 Ethan Allen. I got three things I wanted to ask about.
Can't hear you.
Hold on, okay. Okay, first off, about 3 years ago, when the old regime was here, I think Ryan was in charge, and I forgot who else, but they came to remove the shrubs around my house. They were, deteriorating and half dead, half, like one leaf left. But they removed everything, and they said they would replace it. I'm still waiting. So my wife said tonight that I should come here and speak about that. My whole house around it, and I was going to pay out of my own pocket for landscaping, but I was told when they removed it that they would be, they even had books when I first moved here with stuff to pick out what kind of shrubs and stuff like that. Is that gonna happen again?
So, since I'm here, since 2023, the HOA has not funded a budget for shrub replanting. There's
So
no,
they're not gonna do that anymore?
no, sir, there's no dollars that are being dedicated to the planting of shrubs. You're welcome to plant shrubs in your garden bed, but the HOA is currently not funding for that.
Okay, so I got stuck with that. The other thing is the lighting. I heard a couple of things about the lighting in the community. At night, it's terrible. If I go out at night, when I come back in here, scared. I might hit someone or something, because at night a lot of people do, exercise or walk. They're not even wearing reflectant vests or anything. I mean, I was almost got close to someone one night. They should actually put that out there about if you're walking at night, you should wear a reflective.
I will send a
it's
reminder out.
there. It is.
We try and remind folks, John, but it's personal safety. You have to want to be safe. I don't know how else to say it. I
it's-
understand it.
Unless
It's very
until
dark.
something happens, then okay, that's.
I don't want to.
I just want to add that when we do orientation with new residents, we give them safety vests.
Oh, wow.
We hand out safety vests.
Well, I came in kind of like during COVID, so I didn't get anything.
Would you like a vest? I
I'll
can give
take
you
one.
one.
No,
Stop by the office. I'll give you one if it helps. Give it to somebody you see.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea. I'm a retired Verizon guy, and I'm a lineman from Verizon, and we all had reflectors, so I still got my vest, so if I had to do that at night, I would wear it. The other thing I'd like to talk about, again, with the lighting, with the technology we have in this world today, they can put a solar thing on a stick, and it would be light in the community. JCP&L seems like they're taking advantage of communities like this that do not allow solar panels.
So
my electric bill was $900 and something. Now between JCP&L and AJ Perry, I don't know which one to deal with at first. You know what I mean?
I do.
Because it's ridiculous.
So I just want to interject real quick. So the problem with the solar panels is the structures in the community won't tolerate the weight on the roof. So that's number one. But to your point, there's no reason why the utility could not put in solar power mounted poles. That's out. So we're stuck. When I say stuck, we're really stuck. So they have a utility easement through the community, which gives them the right and removes our right.
There's ways around that.
Okay.
Because they have solar panels that you can put on the ground. You do not have to put them on top of your house. It just as long as that solar panel gets sunlight, I believe sunlight, or just daylight, it could be on the ground. It does not have to be on the roof. As far as the size required, it don't have to do the whole house, but maybe half of the house. I got 5 items that's plugged in my house. I don't know why my bill is $900. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the snow removal. It wasn't bad this year. I know we got hit hard. The only problem I had a complaint with is these guys doing it at 3 in the morning. That was a little disturbing. So I don't, this is the first year I've ever seen that. 3 in the morning, these guys was shoveling. And I don't know where they found these people. Some of them was women. And I was like, what is happening?
We're equal opportunity employers.
Okay, all right.
So if you can handle a shovel, we'll be happy to give you to work. I don't want to be facetious, John, but the truth is that the intensity of the storms and the times they were falling required us to respond, not wait till the end. Because if you waited till the end to try and move 20 inches is such a monumental task. But you had to start to do it in waves and in bands, and that meant throughout the night. It's unfortunate, but it was the only way to get it done. Yeah. Thank you for the input, though, John. I appreciate it.
My name is Alice Pollard, and this is not my first rodeo. Now, people are still asking me because I have requested lights on my walk so that at night I can see how to walk from the driveway to my door. And my son called me that he received a letter, and I don't have it with me, unfortunately, but from you, that you would take care of it so that I would have lights when I'm out at night to go to my front door. So we'll make it very, very easy. I'm sure that you have all heard many years ago of this elderly woman that got notoriety and a lot of money because she had a pet saying, "Where's the beef?" Right? Well, now you have an elderly lady standing in front of you. Where are my lights?
So Top Line Electric is the electrician that's going to be installing them for you.
What is it?
The electrician's been.
You do recall the letter.
I do,
that
yes.
was
And
sent.
we've
Oh,
given this
okay.
work. We created the work order. We've given it to an electrician. They have it. They should be here imminently. I mean,
At first, I
any
just
given
get-
day, they should be here to get this done for you. Your work is up, along with there's some repairs up at the front guardhouse that are needed. They're going to do both at the same
All I
time.
need are sensors that when you walk by it, the lights go on.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I need, all
That's
right?
specifically what they're looking to put in
Okay?
for you. Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Appreciate
Good
everybody at
night.
home for watching.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.